German Chancellor Angela Merkel said her country must assume that the attack that left 12 people dead and more than 50 wounded was terrorism. The Clarion Project is a group dedicated to exposing the dangers of Islamic extremism. Jennifer Breeden is a legal analyst for the Clarion Project, and she joins us now with analysis on the Berlin attack. Welcome, Jennifer.
Welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Angela Merkel says the attack is likely terrorism. What do we know that supports that conclusion?
Well, the truck was hijacked. This is a semi-truck. We're not even talking the kind of truck that went through the Nice, downtown Nice in France. We're talking about a semi-truck. The driver of that truck was shot and stabbed, according to German police and authorities. In fact, the GPS on the truck actually indicates that the truck went forward and backward a couple of times, almost showing that after it was hijacked, the driver shot, that the person getting in the wheel, behind the wheel of the seat, was trying to figure out how to maneuver it and drive it. They do believe it was terrorism. They've called it terrorism. They've called it an attack. Not only that, it was probably planned. This person knew that that was a semi-truck carrying a lot of steel and had a plan to take over that truck.
Is there significance to the timing of this attack?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one, we're talking about a timing in terms of where there is Christmas happening, there are Christmas festivals, and, we've declared, the United States, EU, and the UN has declared there's a genocide against Christians happening in Iraq and Syria. And so now this is Christmas. This is a time of Christmas where we're celebrating, the birth of Christ. And so Christians around the world are being targeted, and anything that you can do to attack a festival that celebrates Christmas and to celebrate that Christian tradition falls right in line with ISIS genocidal jihadist ideology against Christians.
How should the German government respond to it?
Well, I think one thing they've done now, which is different than they've done before, is that Merkel is starting to immediately call this a terrorist attack. She's recognizing what this is, and even recognizing it could be from her open doors refugee or asylum policy, even though they still don't know who the attacker was, single-handedly. But that's probably because the German government has started to realize that with an election year coming up, there are opposition parties that are coming out against Merkel and saying that, Merkel has obviously been wrong. This open doors policy has been dangerous. And so that's how they're going to respond. If she really wants to save face with the German people after an election coming with an election year, she needs to quell their fears. She needs to be saying, we're going to use the full force of the German military. We're not going to be calm on this. And because of the open doors policy, which is obviously been very dangerous for us, not vetting any of these people coming in from places like Pakistan, then we have to really start using our intelligence forces and investigative services to do everything we can to find out when people are adhering or sympathizing with ISIS ideology.
How should the United States respond to all of this?
The United States should really up its foreign policy ante. So one, we need to start taking on our legal obligation, a legal duty to prevent and protect genocide when it's occurring. We declared in March that there was a genocide happening, and we need to start battling that too. We need to also really tackle the ideology. ISIS has a global genocidal jihadist ideology, and so we have to fight that ideology from within our core system. We have to go around, because if we destroy ISIS and their strongholds of Iraq and Syria, that's not going to do anything to stop the spread of the ideology that spread throughout the world, saying that you have to do this to be right with Allah and everything else. And so we have to be strong on those two fronts, protect genocide, and to really combat this global ideology.
So who do you think is behind this attack in Berlin?
Oh, I certainly think it's part of the ISIS sympathizer, ISIS supporter things. And even if ISIS hasn't claimed responsibility, a lot of times they can claim responsibility even if someone didn't pledge allegiance. Think about it. Who's really going to fight against them? And so what you have to do is, all you got to do is read the ISIS, what they put out, the mandates to their followers around the world, which is attack people whenever and wherever. And so it could be very possible that this global ideology of genocide to attack certain targets has already spread, such that anybody that becomes a fundamentalist, adheres to extremist ideologies, is going to see that and say, well, I can get hold of a semi-truck and I can plow into this Christmas parade, and here we go. And so that's the ideology. It's global jihadists that ISIS has perpetrated throughout the world.
How is Germany's policy similar or different from the U.S. policy on immigration?
It's very different, certainly since in 2015, what Merkel did was an open doors policy. Any refugee, any asylum seeker, we're not going to vet you. There was zero vetting. There is vetting in the United States. There's actually about a 2 to 3 year process for refugees that come in. They vet them thoroughly, or thoroughly. Some might say maybe they could be more thorough in that, but they do vet them thoroughly. So we will take in more families, women and children, whereas Germany just opened their doors. So they have a lot of young single men between ages of 17 and 24 coming from places like Pakistan, where the Taliban has such a strong hold and the government has very little power over their intelligence services, which is sympathetic to the Taliban. So, I mean, that's kind of the difference in that. But of course, there's still, changes to be made, and they need to be looking to see how to vet these kinds of people.
Is there a chance the U.S. and coalition will truly unravel ISIS?
Absolutely. I mean, they're doing well. They've kind of fought them back in Mosul and some of these more important areas in northern Iraq, and working with Kurdish forces and things like that. But I mean, as we have said before, and this is one of the things to be vigilant of, even if they can unravel ISIS, even if they can take down ISIS in some of their strongholds in Syria and Iraq, they've now started a global ideology where ISIS has convinced a lot of people with fundamental extremist ideologies that you have to fight, you have to attack the West, you have to bring these people down in this global genocidal campaign such that we've never seen before. And so even if you take down ISIS stronghold, that's not going to stop it. And the chances are that if you don't combat this ideology, and this ideology within the extremist portions of the religion, that it's just another ISIS is just going to crop up after that. And so we need to be vigilant in taking them out and battling the ideology.
Okay, Jennifer Breeden of the Clarion Project, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me on, Mark.